Okay, welcome in, folks. This is the first ever Yankees Unloaded live podcast episode. I'm Jake Ellenbogen. He is Gary Sheffield Jr. And we're here to start out that we really appreciate you guys watching and helping us grow this channel. We're almost at 500 subscribers, Gary. We
That
started
went so quick.
match. It really did. It really did. So, man, first off, shout out to Gary holding down the fort while I was gone. And one of those games was fun, although it was a brutal loss. The other one was horrible. I feel like I owe you something for having to cover that.
No, it's all good. It all evens itself out. And realistically, I think all I needed was the Yankees to score. That's all I needed. It was like I was driving myself crazy. And being a Yankees fan and having been a fan for so long, I talked about Volpe. I talked about various guys on our team and what they have to do for this team to score. Volpe needs to walk. Judge has to hit. I mean, there were a few guys that I really called out and said, we can't just chalk it up to, oh, he didn't have spring training or it's just April. No, those guys have to do something. There's a reason the season starts when it does. And the fact that they showed up yesterday, I mean, they showed out. So there's a reason we're alive. I was definitely happy to see it.
Yeah. I mean, we also didn't have a choice because we couldn't come out with a live last night. I wasn't feeling well. I mean, it was tough. Also, the game ended a little later. But today it's going to be early. It's going to be at like 2, our favorite time. So getting ahead of that because, you know, we're going to celebrate this win in the only way we really can by having a show and talking about it. This is a game where the Yankees put up 3 in the first, 3 in the third, 1 run in the fifth, 4 in the sixth, and 4 in the ninth. They had 19 hits, Gary. I mean, I feel like you and I could have picked up a bat and hit in this game. I mean, it's just seemed like no matter who was up, they were getting a hit, except for Volpe. It was the only one I think that did not get a hit.
That's right.
But I mean, Torres, really good stuff to see him get over 200 for the year. 3-hit day. Austin Wells, he's starting to get, a little comfortable. Although, let's be honest here. Let's be fair. There's a position player on the mound on a second hit.
Yeah.
Just forget about that.
How about Doogie, by the way?
Well, he's today's cover athlete, if you will, because he is right on our thumbnail for good reason. 4 RBI day, huge home run to kind of get it going. I mean, after he hit that home run in the first inning, because I was covering the draft, but I saw it and I was like, I had a really good feeling about the rest of the day. Like I was just like, it's over. I can't explain it. No one asked me to explain it, but the Yankees are winning this game.
I mean, it kind of felt like they had to, right? I mean,
they did.
It was becoming a repeater offense where we're not scoring. We're actually getting some pretty nice pitching performances. We got another one out of Rodon. He was excellent. He was very good.
Absolutely.
And I remember someone on some podcast, some new Yankees podcast, said that Rodon was going to be excellent this year. And so, yeah, it feels good to be on the right side of history with Rodon. And it's a matter of him staying healthy. He's gotten a chance to be on schedule coming out the gate. I think it's having a huge impact. I see his wife on Twitter all the time. She seems to be having a ton of fun with this, which she should. It was a long year last year. It was a long year for all of us. So to see him be successful has been very nice. But to circle back to Verdugo, I do remember, Jake, that a lot of people were really freaking out about his start. And really that start was so characteristic because, and a lot of times you say like, oh, that's uncharacteristic. No, he was putting the ball in play exactly for the reason that we brought him on this team. He was being that bat who was more consistent. He was a guy that he's going to put the ball in play. And long behold, and I don't know if you saw this, Jake, I'm sure you did, that his strikeout rate is the lowest in baseball. He's tied with someone else. Can't remember who they are, but he's tied for the lowest strikeout rate in baseball. That is exactly why he's here. So yes, it's always fun and sexy to be 3 for 5. You drive in 4, no strikeouts again. But when you're talking about a guy who has been exactly this same player, even when he was struggling, That's what makes me so excited about him, because to be honest with you, Jake, I don't know how you feel about it. I was tired of watching guys go down the same way and to
Oh,
make these
absolutely.
same mistakes over and over and over again. It was like when you watch Judge struggle, right?
Yes.
Which isn't often. This is a superstar. It tends to be that he always hits the pitches in the zone. However, he seems to be struggling with the slider down the way. More of a Giancarlo Stanton, Aaron Judge type guy where he's going to struggle with the strike zone. Verdugo is not one of those guys. He's one of those guys who's going to, he potentially could swing early in the count. He can get you at 1-2, 2-2. Basically he's one of those postseason guys. Like he reminds me a lot of got a Pablo Sandoval in the postseason where you just can't really figure out when he's going to get you. So I just love how he's rounded out this lineup. And, I don't want to speak too highly on the lineup because this is the first time they've really executed to actually their potential. So I was really excited to see it, and it makes for a much better podcast.
It does. It's a lot easier to talk about a win than it is a loss. It's a lot more fun to talk about a win than it is a loss. Unless you're one of those weirdo, analysts or fanalists or whatever that like hating on the team, and that's your shtick, which
Right.
I'm sure there are people out there that do that, but that is not us. Rodon was excellent. I mean, 2 hits, 8 strikeouts. And once again, I'll bring it up over and over again because I don't care. I'm still salty about it. Those 2 runs that he lost were absolute BS. He'd have a below 2 ERA if not for that. So he's pitched really freaking well. And, I thought Luke Weaver pitched well again, which means now his ERA is below 4, and we're not really talking about, well, we're probably the only podcast talking about it because we've been giving him his credit. And then how about Jose Trevino as one of the pitchers?
Well, first of all, I see Ronnie in the chat, and it's subtle shot because, and for those of you who don't realize, this is a jab that he's talking about leaving Trevino in the game to get those final outs. Well, like Clay Holmes came out of yesterday's game, I guess should we say 2 days ago.
Yes.
And that was a controversial move. It really was. It was a decision that was more on health and not about today's game. So you take that with what you will. It's up to everyone else if you enjoy that. And I did say, Jake, before the season started, at least to some degree, Aaron Boone has to do a better job of focusing on tonight rather than October and September, because it just seems like it's cheating the process. And frankly, Baltimore's right in front of us. We have got to outrun Baltimore. That's my mentality on the season. But at the same time, you have to be sensible. Is it sensible for Clay Holmes to touch the mound 75 to 80 times this year? That is a lot. It's a lot to ask of any pitcher, no matter who you are. We've seen in history guys like Andrew Miller in Cleveland achieve that mark, and we didn't really see much of them after that. So the Yankees have to be somewhat sensible, but I do enjoy the banter because I agree. Love to see it.
Yeah, no, that is great. Ronnie's awesome. Shout out to Ronnie in the comments section, the lone wolf there. Live stream? Question mark? Yeah. We really wanted to get it out. I don't know if this will be a consistent thing, although at some point I think we'd like to turn it into a live show if we could do that. But yeah, I mean, I think, to your point with this team, I mean, I think we didn't get a chance to really discuss it because, I was covering the NFL draft and you were holding down the fort. I'm still kind of heated that they put Tonkin in. I don't even know why that guy, I could not believe they put that guy in the 11th inning in his debut.
Dude, he was drafted in 2008. I'm 30. I was in 8th grade when this dude was in the MLB draft.
Oh,
why
man.
is he touching the mound in Major League Baseball for the Yankees? This is no disrespect. You're talking about the 10th inning. This is like the most heated inning of baseball. It essentially was the Yankees saying, well, we went with Weaver a couple innings. We don't want to go with Ferguson multiple innings for obvious reasons. We're just going to throw somebody out there. It was like giving
That's how
up.
it felt. That's how it felt. And it just, I don't know, it bothered me. I mean, again, I didn't really get to see it. I just saw the ending because the draft. But focusing on this game, I just wanted to bring that up. But focusing on this game, though, 19 hits and 45 at-bats is quite the feat. I mean, that's pretty damn cool. Where are we on Judge? I know he had a home run. I feel like his approach has been better at the plate. I don't see as much chasing as I did, probably a week or two ago. I'm not trying to be one of those people that's like, oh, see, he's figured it out. It's like, I don't know if he's figured it out. So like, where are you on Judge?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be more literal the way you were last week. I thought that was a really smart approach. And what I mean by that is that Judge has got to put up the numbers, at least in somewhat long term, for me to say, yeah, that's Aaron Judge. Because to be honest with you, him going 2 for 4, if you watch enough of any baseball player play, they're going to get their 2 hits at some point. I don't care who they are. They're going to. Austin Wells had 2 hits yesterday. I mean, you're going to eventually say, and I'm a big believer in Austin Wells. Now I am. I wasn't. But I mean, let's be serious here. Aaron Judge, in my opinion, at least my assessment on him, is that he's not struggled whether or not to be in or out of the zone. He's not struggling to make reads. It's not really the mental side of the game. When you watch the broadcast, he's missing pitches inside the strike zone. A lot of pitches middle are being fouled off. He's flying out a lot to right field, to deep right field, and not really getting through the ball the way we're accustomed to seeing. Well, that's just getting in tune. That's not necessarily like he's struggling with the strike zone or anything like that. He's just missing pitches flat out. And when he starts making contact with those pitches, I think that plate discipline will get even better because you don't necessarily have to cheat to pitches when you know you're hitting middle fastballs. And when you're missing those middle fastballs, sometimes you feel like, am I not getting to them? Am I not, like, what am I not doing to make contact with these pitches? So I think that once he starts to see success the way he did yesterday, I don't really have any doubt in Aaron Judge. So I liked what I saw just from a timing standpoint. And as long as the timing's there for a superstar who's still 32 years old, I mean, he's right there in the happy zone for his prime. Yeah, I'm not worried. I'm excited.
I'm excited too. I hate to go this term again. I'm going to say the get right game.
It's the turn the corner game.
Well, okay, that sounds better. Get right just sounds weird. By the way, Milwaukee's a really good baseball team. They're 17-9 for a reason. This is a big win. I don't want to I don't want to minimize that in any way. I think the Verdugo home run to go up 3-0 was huge. Obviously, Hoskins comes back, gives them a 1 run, and then you get Torres, 3-run double.
That Torres might be the most important bat of the lineup. I get it. And trust me, not of the lineup itself. Yeah. But of the players struggling, that's the one guy we had to see succeed because if I'm not mistaken, Jake, I think everyone thought Aaron Judge was going to be just fine. We're not exactly certain on Gleyber Torres. Not that many people said, okay, I can kind of believe and see the vision. But there's a future where Gleyber Torres has a poor season. That's realistic. I mean, he's not at that level where just poor seasons just don't come out. No. There was a possibility he just never hit this year and he just slid to the bottom lineup. We never really heard from him. No, to see his bat get 3 knocks, drive in 3, that's huge for this lineup. For the length of this lineup, it's gigantic.
And then Cabrera continues to hit. He has a single to right scoring Rizzo. Judge has the home run like we talked about. Rizzo has the home run. Verdugo was upset because I think he wanted to obviously crush the position player and take him out of the yard, but still he gets a sac fly. That was just him all day, just contributing any way he could. And then Stanton has everyone knew he was going to hit a home run. I think they said on the broadcast, like, oh yeah, Stanton's trying to hit this one to the moon.
That ball wasn't even close to the damn strike zone that he hit, by the way. Did you see that?
Yeah.
That was not close to a strike.
You see, he started throwing knuckleballs, and then he got absolutely popped by Stanton and then stopped immediately.
Yeah, he's like, maybe I can slide by with a knuckleball, and then he just throws a pitch. First, not even close to a strike. It was like MLB The Show. The dude throws a pitch down and away, actually a pretty nice location, and just absolutely farted on out to right field, which I loved. I mean, let's be honest. Great. Anytime we see Giancarlo making hard contact, he's more of a feel guy. I don't even know if it matters if he hit the position player or whoever he's hitting against. If he sees hard contact, it tends to linger for at least a little bit longer. So I'm loving what I'm seeing given the timing. We're playing Milwaukee. We're playing Baltimore. I need to see some of these guys get hot because we need them.
Yeah. I mean, you got Soto hitting 7 home runs. Stanton has 6. Judge hit his 5th. Verdugo has 4. I think Rizzo has 4. Yeah. I mean, the home runs are starting to come. That's the scary thing. They've learned how to win without having, leaving the yard, and I think that's going to benefit them. We saw the walks come back, 6 walks, which is really nice.
Hallelujah.
Yeah, I missed that. So I know, a game like that, Volpe is definitely going to probably be down the dumps about not being able to, get in the hit column. But yeah, I thought he put together some good at bats. Okay. The 2 strikeouts, that sucks. And, I'm not going to say, because I don't think we know the answer whether or not it is the leadoff thing. I think he did get into a slump, though. It wasn't immediately when he became the leadoff hitter, but I do think he entered a slump. I do think he was trying every which way to get out of it. And then, of course, when you're out of it or when you're in it, you're trying to get out of it with a bang. You're not even just trying to get a hit at that point. You're like, he starts trying to uppercut the ball. So I thought I saw, just kind of, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but I thought I saw him go back to kind of his old ways. And I expected that. I expected him when he gets into a slump, he's going to revert back to what he did last year. But I think the thing that he has to worry about is overcoming that and sticking with his current approach, because the approach this year coming into it is what's going to turn him into an MVP candidate down the road. Like that's how I feel about Volpe. So, I feel fine. I'm wondering if eventually they're going to take him out of the leadoff hole, which is why I want him to start hitting, like, more than anything, is because I think it'd be a mistake. I think he is the right guy for the job, and I'd hate to see them like almost have him pigeonholed. It's like he'll never lead off again because everyone will remember this, and it's like, I get he has a slump, but I want to give Boone credit real quick because moving Verdugo to the cleanup was genius. I loved that. What were your
That's
thoughts
a
on that?
different flavor. I think we need to pay attention to when was the last time we really saw this from the Yankees? A commitment to, let's be clear, a contact player in the cleanup spot. This is a traditional power spot. Somebody you'd used to be seeing like a Mark Teixeira or a Luke Voigt, somebody whose approach, they're trying to leave the park. That's their approach offensively.
Absolutely.
And Verdugo is not that way. We traditionally have created our lineup where it's contact at leadoff, and there's some teams that go power there, and we go power 2 through 6. That's the way we built our team. Potentially, you have DJ LeMahieu when he was right. He'd be at leadoff. After that, Aaron Judge, you'd see the Luke Voigts, right? All the power guys that we had slotted in, they just somehow, some way would find their way to those slots no matter what, and we just never got creative. Never, not once. And now we put a guy who occasionally will leave the yard. I mean, there's nothing wrong with hitting a homer. We all love him. But to commit to strikeout rate and to commit to having an approach that hasn't changed, it's the reason we brought you in. I love this because let's be clear. When Anthony Volpe figures it out, he's going to be getting on base. It's his job as a leadoff hitter. But most importantly, after that, 2 and 3 is Juan Soto and Aaron Judge. Those guys are either hitting homers or they are walking. Juan Soto does a lot of walking, which means by definition, there's going to be a lot of traffic on the bases. And just because there's traffic on the bases doesn't mean you have to hit them in. Sometimes there's quality outs to be made. When we lead the league in double plays, that's because we're not making quality outs. We're not getting guys over. We're not hitting sac flies. And when you put a guy like Alex Verdugo in the 4 spot, what you're essentially committing to is having a better approach in baseball and understanding that the only way to drive in runs is not to hit the ball in the gap or in the seats. This was a major move from Aaron Boone. He deserves a ton of credit. And I know we're going to win every game. We score 15 runs in, so this isn't the best example. But if Verdugo's in the 4 spot, I think we're going to talk about it as a theme of how quality his at-bats are with runners in scoring position.
No, I absolutely agree. And I'm actually really excited because the fact that we're already putting Verdugo in that cleanup, spot, I mean, things are only going to get better, I think, for him. Like, he's really starting to get into a groove. So if he was thinking about experimenting with this and then maybe moving him around every now and then, I don't think Verdugo's going to let him. I think he's going to hit way too well to the point where he puts himself, solidifies himself as the new cleanup guy. And the thing is, that just adds so much depth. I mean, you're talking about if Gleyber Torres gets going, he's the 7th hitter now. That's what we're talking about right now. If Gleyber Torres, who was one of the best hitters on the team last year, if not the best, if he gets going and say he's hitting 260 and he has some power, maybe hits 24 to 28 home runs, that's your 7th hitter. And it's like, how are you competing with a lineup like that? But again, it goes back. Volpe needs to get back on his track, right? For that to be really scary. Soto continue being Soto. I mean, he's killing it. Judge needs to obviously figure things out. He can't be hitting 190 at the end of the season. Verdugo needs to keep this up. Stanton just needs to hit, above 200. That's all I ask.
He needs to be streaky. That's all it is.
Above 200, I'll take the good with the bad if he's still, because I mean, I've been impressed. I mean, I'm not going to lie. His slugging percentage is it's now over 500. The only other guy that's over 500 in slugging is Soto on the team.
Who, Stanton?
Yeah.
That doesn't seem surprising because it just seems like his contact is just hard everywhere. And let's be clear. When you have a lineup who, and again, a team with 19 hits, not the best example, but in general, this year's Yankees team is more built to, okay, we actually got 10 hits today. Like, that's more possible. Even our better lineups, it was more of a commitment to power. Now we're actually getting our hits. Guys like Verdugo, guys like Rizzo, Torres, Wells, Cabrera, Soto, all those guys who are now in the lineup who weren't potentially before, those guys are actually trying to just get on base. It's a new approach. So when I'm sitting there looking at this, it's like, okay, now when Giancarlo strikes out 3 times, we're talking about a successful day. When you punched out 3 times, you had a hat trick.
Yeah.
And your job, again, we said this before the season started, he doesn't need to be consistent. He can go up there a couple times a game, wave his bat and air condition the stadium. But that third time around the plate, drive the ball, hit a ball 115, whatever you need to do. And let's put up some crooked numbers. His role on this team fits now. For years, we watched this. Giancarlo Stanton was doing exactly this. You'd say, oh, he's hot today. But then the rest of the lineup wasn't exactly a fit. It didn't make sense. It seemed like more redundancy, more players built like him. When you're talking about Luke Voits and all those guys slotted in front of him, well, those aren't exactly guys who are going to build traffic. Well, you know who will build traffic? Verdugo, Judge, Soto. Those guys will. So when Stanton, does get hot occasionally, it's going to be damage. And that's what you saw yesterday. So I loved what I saw. I think the roster construction makes a lot more sense for him. And I think we're going to reap the benefits of that.
I agree. And, this is somebody who has played 24 games so far out of 27. So he's on pace for 35 homers. If he finishes with 30, I think that's beyond what, we would expect normally, because he normally doesn't finish out the season. There's a lot to like. I mean, I understand this is just one game of 162, but this was big. Like you said, this was a must win. I mean, coming into this, they're 17-10. People really like it when they had the single digit, in the loss column. When that became 10, I watched Yankees Twitter go into like pandemonium.
We're not the best bunch.
I mean, I understand. I understand, like, single digits is nice, but did you really think they'd be single digits at the end of the season? I mean, it's like, come on now. As long as you're not triple digits, now, okay, I can understand, the panic. But no, all jokes aside, this is a playoff team. They're going to continue to get better. And it's just so impressive because we can sit here and we can complain, and we're only doing this because we have a show. So we like, addressing everything. We like giving everything its air. We want to be, attention to detail oriented, if you will. And that's why we go through at bats. That's just our show. But I'm not sitting here like worried about this team. Like, they're 18-10. They're 10-5 on the road. They're playing good teams. This is another good team that they're playing, the Brewers. And they've split the series now. We'll see if
Surprisingly.
they win it today, right? I think they're going to. I think, people could say what they will. Oh, and I know I think it was Babe Ruth. Yesterday's runs don't count for today.
Right.
I've heard that so many times, but we got Stroman on the mound. And I know Tobias Myers has a 1.80 ERA, but I'm not scared of Tobias Myers because he's only pitched 5 innings. So that is very, that's very,
I kind of disagree with that statement from Babe Ruth. That statement, with all due respect, great player, of course, but how does that make any damn sense? If you had watched this Yankees team and you said, oh yeah, yesterday them scoring 15 runs after struggling all year, really to score. I mean, that was the only thing that we were struggling to do was put the bats together. It seemed like one guy got hot, then the next guy forgot to get dressed for the game, and then the next guy, he couldn't find his bat, couldn't find his way to the plate, and then you got guys getting ejected in the first inning because the strike zone was atrocious. No, we couldn't figure it out offensively. Everyone's pointing fingers. He's cold. He didn't have spring training. No. When that team scores 15 runs, it means something for today. I get it that none of those runs we don't get to carry the one and bring it into today.
I think that he meant it literally, but I agree with you. And I don't think you're hating on Babe Ruth here. I think you're hating on the way people phrase Babe Ruth's. You have to understand what he means. He means quite literally. Tomorrow you can change. Yesterday you sucked. Tomorrow you can be better. But that's not meant to be used 15 runs doesn't matter. You should never score any.
That statement was meant for Volpe. They're like, hey, Volpe, team scored 15 runs, 19 hits all around, no errors. The whole team put it together. You went 0 for 4. Thankfully he walked, which was nice to see. But like you said, we're not trying to pick on him as the bats were nice yesterday. But yeah, kind of like that. In the short term, yeah, you didn't do much, but today you can make an impact. And so
bingo.
Let's look for Volpe today to make an impact. We're just going to circle him. We're going to circle that guy.
Yeah. We're going to circle him. I also want to give a shout out. If any Brewers fans are watching, Joey Ortiz has hit really well in this series. He also won the game in, extras. So, got to give credit where credit's due. And I think he's really stepped up. Rhys Hoskins is Rhys Hoskins. So, hitting a home run wasn't a shock to me. But we got Stroman on the mound. Agent Zero is on the mound. 2.93 ERA, 2-1. With a 1.23 whip, 27 2/3 innings this year, 28 strikeouts. So averaging over a strikeout per inning, barely over a strikeout.
Do we know who the umpiring crew is? Who's the home plate umpire right now?
I don't know if they released that or not because I don't see it here.
I know that seems like a ridiculous thing to ask about, but
no, it doesn't. The way things have been going.
Team, a lot of their approach is around plate discipline. And when you watch a guy like Juan Soto didn't light it up yesterday. He had 1 hit. Yeah, he scored 2 runs. That was awesome. But when you look at Juan Soto and you say, oh, how did he do? And you look at the box score, you see the 1 next to his name. You think, oh, he was fine. But then the more you get to know Juan Soto, you say, oh, he had 2 walks. So he was on base 3 times in front of Aaron Judge. That approach, they need something back there as a home plate umpire. It needs to be decent. Please tell me something.
Okay, so I don't know who it is today.
Okay.
But it's either one of Derek Thomas, Jansen Visconti, or Mike Muchlinski. Okay. So I don't know any of them.
Well, we'll be watching the broadcast, and the best way to know if this umpire sucks or not is if the home broadcast says this guy's got a pitcher's zone, then it sucks.
So apparently Derek Thomas was the umpire in the 7-6 game, right. And he was outstanding. 99% called ball accuracy. He missed 1, and it honestly clipped the corner. So I think they're being generous there by saying he missed that. Okay. And then 97% called strike accuracy. He missed 2 that should have been balls that he called strikes.
Okay.
So in conclusion, I've never seen this before. Overall favor 0.0 towards any team. I'm looking at the scorecard now. So Overall, he's the best. I've never seen a scorecard like this, dude. He is overall the best home plate umpire that I've seen.
And I'm sure there's other guys who potentially rate higher than him, but let's say this. I don't really give a damn
Yeah,
what
I don't care that
someone's
much.
like, oh, this one clipped the corner and all that. Like, yeah, like it's always good to see in the short term, but the overhanging, like, I guess I should say, what's compelling to me is if you are consistently terrible. And
Yeah.
most of the guys that we say, oh, yeah, that umpire, I know exactly his name. I know what he does. I know his antics. That's what we're after. We can't have somebody who's taking 3 weeks from now, like a game that happened in spring training. Boone was mean. And so now he's going to bring it into today's game. That's what we can't have, because when you see yesterday and you see the team walk as much as they struck out for an entire game, that means that the strike zone was at least serviceable enough to where hitters can make the adjustment pitch to pitch. As long as that's happening, you're never going to hear me complain about the umpires. Bad calls are going to happen situationally. All the best umpires, the worst umpires, they all make bad calls. It's
Yeah.
just with what regularity does it happen and with what attitude. And if there's no attitude and there's at least somewhat of a consistent strike zone between both teams, I have an opinion that the Yankees are the better team, and it'll show today.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if we're not going to get Derek Thomas because they rotate. But I mean, I agree. And I think my thing is when we're watching the Yes broadcast and they always have the chart, like it's pitcher friendly, hitter friendly in the middle.
Yes.
If it's not in the middle, I cringe because everyone will be like, oh, see, I'd rather have it be hitter friendly. I'm like, I'd rather have it be in the middle because I don't want any of this friendliness. Learn the strike zone. Learn the strike zone. Why is there a bias?
It means they're missing. Okay. Pitcher's zone. That means that they miss pitches inside the strike zone.
Mm-hmm.
Or no. They miss pitches outside the strike zone. Hitters, they miss pitches inside the strike zone. So for us, we got a guy on the mound by the name of Marcus Stroman. Marcus Stroman, he has the same approach every single time he goes out there to pitch, and it is this. And Rodon has the same thing. They're going to live down and away, comeback fastball for Stroman. He's going to throw that sinker down and away. He's going to find out very early, and this is strategic. He's not just throwing it there for fun. He's trying to find out. And I feel like you know this, Jake, and a lot of people do, but he's trying to see, what are you giving me out there? Greg Maddux used to do this. And for people who are old school fans of the game, yeah, some of these older pitchers, when they're throwing that little comeback fastball out there, and you say, why in the 5th and 6th inning are they calling that? That's a ball. Well, he's conditioned the umpire. You've already been giving me that pitch in the 1st and 2nd inning. You established the strike zone out there. So as a great pitcher, I'm going to adjust to that strike zone, and that strike zone for that day being a pitcher's zone. So yes, Jake, to your point, like to your credit, yes, we want to see something in the middle. I don't want to see, they don't need to make a zone advantageous for Aaron Judge or Juan Soto for us to win. No, I don't want anything to be advantageous for anyone. I want the zone to be fair, because if it is, I believe in Stroman in our lineup enough where they can work around a fair strike zone, not whatever it is that they think they want to have. Because I guess that's what bothers me about, and we always try to bring up robo umps, is whether or not the strike zone is a recommendation or if it's actually a statistic. Like, is it something that there's a science to? Because people complain all day long about the zone, but is the damn thing supposed to be objective, or is it just, is it Bob's zone for the day? Because that's what they should call it. Instead of the strike zone, they should have the umpire's first name. It should just say Bob's zone. That's what it should say. And I mean that in all seriousness, because we can't call something a strike zone and then it's just subjective for the day. I mean, what are we talking about?
That's really funny. It just like Bob's Zone, brought to you by AutoZone.
No, it should say Angel Zone, and it just does this and then just starts waving outside. That's what they should do. They should make an example. Show me the strike zone of what Angel actually calls. That I would pay for. I would pay extra money to see an extra floating box instead of the actual K zone of where the zone is supposed to be. Show me Angel Hernandez box. that has almost hips to it at the bottom. Show that to me.
You know, I don't know if you ever had this, but when I was in high school, they like the people from the police department like came in and we tried on those drunk goggles. That's
Yes.
what it reminded me of. It's like Angel Hernandez's strike zone is just drunk goggles.
The dude's hammered. He has no idea where the strike zone's at. And then the worst part about
It's a
it by
heat
far,
map.
and I know it seems like the worst thing about, him doing this job is him not doing the job well. No, it's actually his demeanor while not doing the job well. He's essentially a substitute teacher who can't read or write.
Oh my
That's
god.
what Angel Hernandez is, and it's unfortunate.
The substitute teacher I was telling you about back in again high school when my friend literally turned his desk to the wall.
Yes.
Just not respected at all.
No respect. And frankly, it's hard. And Jake, I know you made this point, by the way, a few weeks ago, is that
Yeah,
and I tend to agree with you. We're team respect the umpires, especially during the
absolutely.
game, like at least having some type of professional approach to the game. Let's not make a shit show to this. Like, let's not make it ugly. Doesn't need to be
Yeah.
uglier than what it is. So guys are going to make mistakes. We need to live with them. But once someone brings an attitude and they're bringing it towards the players, towards our managers, towards staff, throwing guys out off the bench, dudes from the crowd are screaming at our coach and they're screaming at the umpire and getting our manager ejected. What are we talking about?
I know. He did a
That's
great
silly.
job of apologizing. He doubled down. I was like, oh my God, this dude needs to. Well, the good thing is he is going to be handled by MLB. He's not going to be able to umpire Wendelstadt. He's not going to be able to umpire any sort of like World Series or anything like that, which, God, can you imagine that guy in the World Series? Yeah, I'll pass.
No, I
Like,
couldn't. No, I couldn't. I couldn't imagine. I guess the most important thing is I couldn't imagine the conversation being about anything other than the players
I
during the
mean,
World Series or
what
games
would
of
you do
importance.
in the World Series? Say Game 7, like he just someone in the crowd yells as well, and then he throws out. He just somehow ends up throwing out both managers in the Game 7 of the World Series.
Yeah, like I said, some of these decisions, and whether we like to admit it or not, they're subjective and they can affect economies. The New York Yankees being a part of the World Series, whether people want to admit it or not, the baseball world needs Yankees Dodgers in the World
Oh
Series.
yeah,
That's ideal for the health and longevity of Major League Baseball. So I get this whole small market. We might have some Brewers fans in here today. I completely respect and love about this game is that those small markets can pound through the postseason the same way a major market can. We love that about this game. But let's be clear. When the better teams get to the World Series and the umpiring is more accurate, the umpiring being more accurate only helps the better teams win. That's what you want. You want the talent on the field to reflect in October. And sometimes just the hottest team wins, and that's actually what seemingly always happens. But yeah, like we don't want the Yankees to have potentially made a World Series or the Dodgers in the National League. And you have a team like, I don't know, take your pick, a small market team like the Arizona Diamondbacks going out and beating the Dodgers and then sending it over to the World Series. It's like you can't have Jim zoned for the day or ejecting a manager and Lavallo and be like, oh, our bad. Like, hey, good luck in the World Series. And then meanwhile, the Dodgers are going home. That's millions and millions of dollars impacting an economy. So yeah, I always tend to bring it up. I want players to decide these games. I don't want these umpires to lose jobs. I like when everyone's making money, everyone's happy. But man, we're talking about dudes who just flat out they have attitude about this job. Some do it really well, but the ones who are not are
oh
ruining it
man.
for the rest of us.
No, you're absolutely right on that. Shout out to Big Blue in the Bronx. What up, fellas? I just saw that. I've been on their show a few times. LI Yankee King. Didn't know you guys live stream. We kind of just decided to spur the moment this morning just to get it out because I don't know if Gary, if you knew, but I was like, wait a minute, the Yankee game is on at 2:30. All right, we got to get this recap out. And this is the best way to get it out like as soon as possible. So, I don't know if we'll continuously do live streaming, but I will say this. Gary and I have a lot of experience doing live streaming, and it's a big reason why that, he reached out to me to do this show because we had already had so much experience doing it. You've been on my show, being that, you are an Eagles fan and I'm a Rams fan. I cover the Rams. So when you
And shout
came
out
up,
to you, by the way. Very successful week with the
yeah,
Rams coverage. I saw
it
my man
was,
had like 25. First of all, how many concurrent? You had like 25. What was it? Concurrent viewers.
it was over 1,300.
It's incredible. Yeah, and we know that this show, it's part of the reason we started this show. I mean, it's our first live stream and we already had like over 20 people in here. And most people, we didn't do any type of announcement that we were doing a live stream. All the people in here are in here because they found it. So it kind of goes to show you how strong our audience is already. It's only going to get stronger. And again,
Absolutely.
like Jake said, we both have experience doing live streams. We can't exactly make promises of how we're going to go about the show and whether or not this is going to be a thing of regularity, but we do know at some point or another, live streams probably will become the format as we continue to build out and bring in interviews. I'm sure the interviews will probably be pre-recorded and not live, but I guess we'll see how it goes. We might go Pat McAfee mode, like as if you will.
Yeah, me standing up and like, yeah, just screaming into my microphone.
It's so ridiculous that
giant
he stands
chain.
up.
Yeah. I got the chain, but I'm not bold enough to wear something like that. But no, I mean, you're right there, and we'll also listen to your feedback as well, guys. If you think like we should, if live is better for you guys, if you prefer like the more high quality, because here's the thing. We do everything through StreamYard. It's really simple to do it that way. And essentially when we record, it gives us, a live recording of our feed from just like a local recording, right? So there's no, over the internet or anything. So because it's the local recording, the recordings are going to look way nicer. The microphones are going to sound way better. And so that's why, we like doing what we do, because you can get that really professional looking, setup. But if you guys prefer live streaming and you guys prefer, maybe more of a, let's invite you guys in and answer questions and do mailbags and things like that, seriously, just drop the damn thing in the comments section. We're open for anything. We're growing this platform, but we also want to keep you guys along for the ride because you're part of this. So, any ideas that you guys have, please let us know. We're an open book.
Yeah, no, and I will say this. There are a lot of shows out there that I've watched and they don't necessarily always address what I'm thinking. Now, I don't you don't expect, depending on the size of the show, to be always addressed. I mean, that's just not the way content creation works.
Yeah.
But thankfully, in this format with live streams, it does. We can address what people are thinking. If you really want to address what people are thinking, put it in the chat. We read all of it and we throw it in the show. We will talk about any and all questions that revolve around the Yankees. From Volpe, we'll talk about Soto, Judge. It doesn't matter. We're not worried about upsetting anybody. We're going to give our honest opinion always. And of course, we lead with, we always love doing pre-recorded because Jake and I both love having high quality stuff out there and just, we're nerds. If you haven't been able to tell, we like the camera to be clear. We like the mics to sound clean. And of course, live streaming kind of dampens it a little bit. But if people feel like it's good enough to roll with it, we absolutely wouldn't have a problem with it.
Well, Ronnie, our good friend Ronnie, says live or pre-recorded, the show is incredible. Keep it going. Well, it's not going anywhere because, anywhere but up anyway, because we're not going to stop doing this. Gary and I have been Yankee fans. I mean, you've been a Yankee fan pretty much your whole life, right?
Yeah, pretty much. So I mean, I shouldn't take full credit. I mean, there's some people who have been Yankees fans since they were little kids. No, I was a fan in 04. As soon as my dad was traded to the team, like it was go time from there because I mean, George Steinbrenner was fantastic. They were just so good. The whole staff was excellent. I don't think a lot of people realize how important George Steinbrenner was to our family. I mean, we're talking about well documented Dwight Gooden, my great uncle. He for years, I mean, he was obviously going to rehab after his stint in Major League Baseball. And a lot of people have fond memories of his baseball career, but people don't talk about what was happening off the field. George Steinbrenner was paying for my uncle to go to rehab. That's the type of relationship that the Yankees built with our family from the jump. And so when you have stuff like that happening, I felt like I had no choice but to be a fan of this team, because how can you not be a fan of an MLB owner who cares about not just the players, but the family of his players? He was helping people all over the place. So it's incredible. 65, Mr. E, we appreciate you. Yeah,
That's
it's
awesome.
been a hell of a ride as a Yankees fan. And yeah, this team has made me want to pull my hair out. At the same time, I don't want to act like it's been all sunshine and rainbows. It's been a tough decade not being able to get over the hump. But part of the reason we started this show is we felt like we're going to talk about the good. We are going to talk about the bad and the ugly. And we hopefully are going to see you guys on the other side of a World Series, because when this team wins a World Series, dude, this is going to be a party in here.
Oh my God. Yes, it
It's going to
is.
be nuts.
It absolutely is. Well, and also I think the thing is, and this is kind of, I guess, somewhat of an introduction for people that are coming in here that have never seen us before. Like Gary and I have experience doing other content. Like I'm a football creator, football scout, and so the NFL draft is like my Super Bowl and everything. And I've over the course of time have learned through writing articles and audio and getting into video in 2020, and building my YouTube channel. I've just learned like, okay, this is the way we should be doing things. And it's really cool, Gary, because we kind of have an idea of like, all right, this is how you start a show. We went through the growing pains of starting, a channel, and okay, maybe this was killing you because of the algorithm, and now we know how this thing works. At least we think we do, and it looks like we do because we're almost at 500 subscribers, like I've mentioned, and 30,000 views, and we just started the damn thing. So, I mean, the sky's the limit because we have the greatest fan base in the history of sports. I mean, this is this is America's team. Regardless, if you want to say anything's America's team, it's the New York Yankees. I mean,
We're lunatics. The highs are higher than any other team. That's the beauty of fandom. I don't really think a lot of people know what fan stands for. It's
yeah,
short for fanatic. We are the definition of fanatics. Fanatics don't watch a Monday and a Tuesday and a Wednesday game and say, "Oh, this guy didn't play well. Oh, I guess I'll just see him Friday." No. Fanatics are fanatics. They are going to say, "You didn't play well Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. Why didn't you play well?" And that's why this show exists. We talk about the why. We want to dive into the details. We felt like we were going to be the show to do that. And that's exactly what we did. And long and behold, a lot of people kind of knock this generation for not wanting details, not really wanting to talk about, the poor part of the situation or what went correct in a loss. We do all of those things. We felt like there was a market for it, of people like us who were nerds of not just the Yankees but baseball. We are nerds of the game of baseball, just
both
like
played
you're a
it.
nerd for the NFL with Downtown Rams. So I felt like it was a good fit. And then, of course, we're building fit with our fans as well. We want the correct fans. And like I said, by the time this show even gets to October of this year, it's gonna be incredible. It's gonna be really fun. We're already having fun now, but it's only growing from here. So we appreciate all the people who watch this show today, because we are gonna remember these faces. We did this. Jake and
Yeah,
I have been streaming on Kick live for the past, I would say, I mean, this was probably about a year, probably a
yeah,
year or so ago. But if you really think about it, we remember each and every, we still talk about some of the people who were in there giving us super chats and subbing to each other's channels. I know every name that was in essentially Jake's chat box, because we are around each other that much, and we pay attention to those people. We just flat out do. Some people will grow a show and then, okay, well, there's 200 people in there, so I'm not really, yeah, okay, if you super chat, I'll probably remember your name. No, we remember everybody in the chat. We do. So I think that we're building this the right way, and eventually the reward is going to be incredible for everybody.
absolutely. I'm really looking forward to it. Just like today's game at 2:30, Yankees, Brewers, last game of the series before we got the Orioles. I
That's
mean,
right.
come on, you can't beat that. That's battle for AL East supremacy. I mean, came into this year, everyone was talking about the Orioles, and I think I'm going to say it. I remember when Jeff Passan was saying, I'm not as high on the Yankees. And then there were some people saying that the Yankees, I think, I want to say it was Baseball Reference had them at 77 wins, which is
Who?
insane. Yeah, Baseball Reference had them at
Who
77
had
wins.
who at 70 wins?
Yankees. Oh, man.
They need to be drug tested immediately. That's absurd. We got on this show, and I would say we're the realistic podcast. We're not going to sit here and we're not going to pat the Yankees on the back for work they didn't do, but we're going to sit here with a straight face, look at a lineup of Anthony Volpe, who's a top prospect in Major League Baseball. He's considered sliding right now, and he's hitting 275. His ops is in the mid 700s. Juan Soto, Aaron Judge, Verdugo, Stanton, Rizzo, Torres, Wells, and Cabrera with our rotation, and you're going to predict 78 wins. I don't care if analytics did it, a robot, or a person. Drug test or fire that person expeditiously. That's so bad. Are you kidding me, Jake?
So they're going to be worse than last year? That's what you're basically saying.
Aaron Judge missed 2 months last year. How can you predict that? That is insane.
I think people really jumped the gun on Garrett Cole. I will say I really like the way we handled the Garrett Cole situation because it was hard. We just started a show and we're really excited and we feel good about this team. And, you and I both were saying they're going to have more than 90 wins. And then Garrett Cole stuff comes out and now we're a little concerned. But, I think that we made the right call just believing in the guys. I mean, giving Clark Schmidt an opportunity, giving Luis Heel an opportunity. It's worked out. I mean, again, they're 18-10 or 17-10. So, sorry, my bad. I jumped into the future a little bit. No, they are 18-10. What the hell am I talking about?
No, it's probably because you're looking at maybe an old game and it doesn't update their record. That's kind of how that works on MLB at least. But let's be clear. Our rotation picked up Garrett Cole. They did. They showed up. They played well. People said Marcus Stroman, he can't pitch innings, but I said at the beginning of the year, Stroman tends to come out hot, and he has. He's pitched very well. We're going to see the test of time, how he's out there. If he's out there pitching in the second half of the year, how he's pitching. We needed to see. There were question marks on Rodon. There were no guarantees on what he would do. He was working on a cutter. I mentioned earlier in the season, I don't like the fact that our $180 million pitcher is just working on a pitch and he's got 2 pitches. But long behold, he and Matt Blake have really figured something out. They figured out a plan of attack.
Yeah.
And those performances have directly helped. They have directly helped Garrett Cole and the Yankees be patient with that arm. And that's going to help the Yankees more than I think anybody is talking about, because it's very difficult to handle a $360 million ace when you really desperately need him in the short term. That's a hard pill to swallow for anybody, let alone the Yankees. We are in a win now season. Juan Soto just aboard, and you're going to sit around and say, oh, hey, yeah, the rotation's just really struggling. And then Garrett Cole is, okay, well, when do we bring him out? Well, you can assume the human element is they're going to try and rush him out there. Well, thankfully, we have a staff and players good enough to grind it out and get it done without Garrett Cole. Now, Jake just brought up he loves how we handled it. Well, we get to bring him out when we're ready. That is something that not a lot of people are talking about. He's not going to have the 225 inning of wear and tear heading into October this year. He's going to be ready.
He's true.
Going to be fresh. And the Yankees are going to be a team on the hunt. That's something that we have not done. It felt like we were being hunted for a while now. I know we won a lot of regular season games, whatever you want to call it. We were a very successful team. This Yankees team is doing it right top to bottom. We need to continue on with the momentum. We need this game today. We win this game, we are bringing momentum to Baltimore. We need that momentum. Baltimore kind of got hit in the chin, Jackson Holiday. And the lineup's tremendous, right? They obviously got Burns this offseason, excellent pickups. But they kind of let a little wind out of their sail. Number 1 prospect, he kind of needs to go back down, retool things, and then come back up. So the Yankees might be hitting them at the right time. Let's go in there. Let's go finish off a series in Milwaukee, and then let's go get it done in Baltimore.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. I definitely agree with that. I saw Melissa correct me on that, which I appreciate. I totally said it was 2:30 and it's actually 2:10. So today's game is at 2:10 Eastern time, not too far off, but I don't want you to miss out. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's actually happened like multiple times. Like it doesn't I don't miss a ton of the game, right? But like it'll be like, yeah, I think it's 4:30 and it's actually like 4:15. And so I missed like the top of the first or whatever. It's so annoying.
Oh, I don't blame you. Dude, I'm on the West Coast. People don't realize that these 1:00, 2:00 games, those 1:00 games are at 10 a.m. for me. Dude, I've been in REM sleep in the fourth inning before of a Yankees game. You want to call me a fan? Dude, I literally was in a slumber. So while like Stanton was in a slump, I was in a slumber. I literally was just completely asleep. I'd wake up in the morning and I look at my phone. I've got like 6 text messages, 3 updates that
Probably from me.
that's right. Oh, that's the married life. You only get texts from like Jake and then your wife. So I'm literally sitting here going, "Oh, the Yankees are they're up 2-0. Oh,
Oh
okay."
man.
And then I just wake up and then just go turn the game on. But
I know. I like Judge just hit a home run and I'm like Judge all caps and you're like, wait, what year is it?
oh yeah. Well, that's because no. So the funny part is when I say what year is it, it's because I'm streaming the game.
Oh man.
That's
Oh
why.
yeah.
I'm on
That's
like
true.
what is it? It's not StreamYard. We were just talking about StreamYard. What's Stream East? The
Street.
freaking
Well, you're not there anymore because I shared the Yes Network app with you. So that's good.
No, I forgot about the Yes Network app, so I haven't been watching that.
Well, you should
I
go
forgot
back
it
to
existed.
using it. Oh
I don't
my
know.
god.
I don't know why I wasn't using it. I should be. It was excellent. So I'll be watching it today. God, I'm an idiot.
I
Totally
know.
forgot about it.
Stream East. Are you kidding me? They're like now batting Derek Jeter.
Well, wait a minute. Yeah. Am I the only one in here? Chat, am I the only one in here that uses Stream East?
You're definitely the only one in here that uses Stream East. 100%. I think
Oh,
everyone uses Yes because I mean the Yes app
okay.
is pretty good.
It is.
I like it. Li Yankee King. In my opinion, the lineup should be Volpe, Verdugo, Judge, Soto, Stanton, Rizzo, Torres, Wells, Cabrera. I like Verdugo as the cleanup hitter, but I don't hate what you just put out. I think I'd want Soto ahead of Judge though.
Well, I have a problem with one thing. So
Never
this is
heard of
my
Stream
huge
East,
issue
by
with
the way.
that. So
2 of them.
it's yeah. So I have one glaring problem, I should say, like my biggest problem, because I like his wheels are spinning. Li is bringing up, getting creative to put Verdugo in a position to succeed, and
I'm
like
all for
that.
creativity. I'm not going to knock that. Yeah.
Because that's where the human element and the human element can really help this Yankees team. And by the way, that human element is part of the reason why we're giving Boone so much credit this year. He's shown that he's using his mind. Not everything has to have an analytical reason to put it in effect. Now, to address the question directly, he says he wants to put Volpe, Verdugo, Judge, Soto, Stanton, Rizzo, Torres, Wells, Cabrera. Now, we'll just dive into the top of the lineup because that's the part that is very important. When you put Verdugo at 2, you have Judge at 3. Now, of course, Judge being at 3 with Soto behind him literally means, and I can probably see why he's doing that, is to protect Judge because it seems like Judge is the player who needs protection and not the other way around. But let me say this. I don't want a player who gets on base as much as he does and with the approach that he has in Juan Soto, 325 batting average, hitting his ops is over 1,000. I don't want a player who walks as much as he does, hitting 4th or 5th. 4th. I don't want that. Juan Soto is not a traditional power hitter. He is a complete hitter. And probably right now it's obvious, he's our best player offensively. I want that guy up a guaranteed 4 times a game. I want that guy to be up there. Yeah, I don't want him leading off and getting out of hand with it, but hitting 2 is the perfect spot, in my opinion, for Juan Soto. I cannot move him. I just simply can't do it. And the fact that I cannot move him means that Verdugo can't be at the top of the lineup, because Verdugo is not going to be at leadoff for me. I'm committed to Volpe long term. And so you've got your 1-2 solidified. Obviously, Judge is going to hit behind him. And that leads us with the best possible promotion for Verdugo to be long term in the 4 spot. That I think we can get with. Is this today's lineup? Okay, beautiful.
How fire was that? That transition was great.
That was so dope. Chad, I had no idea that was even happening. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, I wanted to surprise you.
Yeah, they're seemingly giving this a test. And this, by the way, this is not analytics. Analytics say that Rizzo should simply be slotted behind Judge every single time. And long behold, we move Rizzo to the 6th spot. He gets 3 knocks, right? He's considered more of a lineup lengthener. And you're talking about Verdugo really swinging a hot bat, and he's not striking out. So it's a different flavor to this lineup that we're not used to seeing. A speed contact guy at the top. Love that. Soto, who's an on-base guy, judges our power. Verdugo's another contact guy, and then power. We love it. I absolutely love it, and I'm not going to complain about where Cabrera or if Trevino's playing over Wells. I'm not going to complain about the details of the lineup if the brunt of what you've created is creative and it is, forward thinking, actually using. Remember, Jake, if I'm not mistaken, they never believed in hot or cold hitters. Do you remember this?
Wait, the Yankees?
The Yankees. And the best example I can give you for people who don't remember the quotes of, well, I need to keep Kais fresh, but a lot of us Yankees fans said, well, keep him fresh. He's hitting 600 this week. Why is he not playing? Right? So if you're sitting here talking about a guy who's hot, I don't want him getting his rest day. Rest him when he's not playing well. We've seen it. Stanton last week was not playing well. Last week. Perfect time to give him a day. Give him a day. Let him reset himself. And if Volpe goes like 0 for 6 today for whatever reason, maybe you consider, at some point here in the near future, giving him some type of breather, let him reset, and then recalibrate. But don't tell me that you're going to give a guy a rest when he's when he had 3 knocks yesterday. I'll never get on board with that. And this lineup, by the way, proves Boone is looking at the tendencies, and I know he's going to tell us that he's been doing this, but the evidence was there that he was not. And this proves, at least in 2024 in the short term, he is. It looks very nice. And I know everyone's trying to figure out where to put Verdugo, but for the most part, everyone's answer is super high up in the lineup. So this is a huge W for the Yankees.
Yeah, I really like this. Like this lineup today. I like Trevino's back in the order. I think that's smart. He's been hitting the cover off the ball. Yeah, I mean, I have no complaints about it. Like when Cabrera was on an absolute tear, because right now he's hitting well, but he's not absolutely crushing it. I wanted him, higher up in the order. But yeah, I have no complaints about this lineup at all. I think this is the right approach. I just love the idea of like you could have the way Stanton's hitting right now. You can have him at 5th, Verdugo cleanup. I love that. I hope they keep that throughout the year because I think they're going to really reap the rewards of that. And you can't. The thing is, there's no like, okay, I'll just walk. Say you have Volpe, you can't walk Soto to get to Judge. You can't really walk. I mean, you could walk Judge to get to Verdugo, but you can't walk Verdugo to get to Stanton. It's like,
but now that if you walk Judge, it's not just going to be, okay, I'm going to pick apart and go sliders down and away. No, we've got a lefty there. We've got a contact bat there. We've got the best contact hitter in baseball hitting. And I'm not saying Verdugo is the best contact hitter in baseball, but right now he's outputting like it. So if that's the case, you can expect when Judge is on base that contact is going to be made after him. That's a huge change from years past. And by the way, Jake, I want to mention something. So I see it in the chat from Melissa. She says she has a theory. When the Yankees go into extra innings, is it possible Boone throws the game to preserve the pen? I would say the word throw throw away the game or just throwing the game is probably a poor choice of words in terms of, because no, Boone is not throwing any game. I mean, he's trying to win every game, but we have to remember his answer after the game as to why he did not throw Clay Holmes a second inning was that he didn't want him to pitch 80 times this year. That was his answer, his direct answer.
Yeah.
And he's essentially saying, I don't want to overuse our horses. And I was worried about this. Jake was worried about this at the beginning of the year. And I kind of agree with it. Now, do I agree with who they brought out? No, I don't. In last show, I actually brought up they probably should have called someone up to reinforce that pen, give him another option back there, and they didn't do it.
I
So
agree
yeah,
with
no,
that.
I just think that Boone committed to, if we're gonna win this game, it's got to be in like the 10th or 11th, because if not, we're not trying to ride into the 14th or 15th, because if we do that, we're talking about something that can potentially have effects on this team who's trying to stay healthy, all the way into the later in the year. So no, Melissa, I don't think so.
Yeah, and I'll say this. I've had issues with him taking out Clay Holmes before, but I think my issue was not necessarily taking out Clay Holmes. It was who they put in for Clay Holmes. If that's Clayton Beater, I'm totally fine.
Yeah.
I'm going down with Beater. I'm going down with Poteet if he was up there. If that was, I know they already used Santana. That was a tough game also. Like they used a lot of their guys. There is no way in hell, in my opinion, that Tonkin should have been in there in the 11th. There's just no way.
Well, we said when you say he shouldn't have been there in the 11th, he shouldn't have been there ever. He shouldn't have been dressed out. He shouldn't have been in pinstripes.
I didn't understand that. I mean, I also didn't even see, because I mean, I was, covering the draft. I didn't even see him get called up. But, isn't that funny today? Like, back in the day, the Yankees would make a move and Twitter didn't really exist. So you would just hear about it on Yes. They'd be like, oh, by the way, Matt Lawton is the Yankee. That just happened.
I think
or like,
that was better, in my opinion.
I mean, I do like the age of information is definitely not something I take lightly, right? It is fascinating though, because you start the day, you wake up 8 a.m. and you have the Yankees PR coming out from their Twitter account. Like, yeah, we sent this guy down. We sent this guy down. We DFA'd this guy. And it's like, I remember back in the day when that was just Yes. Like Yes would tell you, yeah, we called up Phil Hughes. He's going to make his debut. We keep showing all the Trenton Thunder clips, because he came right from AA. But it's funny how much things have changed.
Things have changed a ton. And by the way, I see in the chat someone said, well, Boone didn't necessarily have a ton of options. And that is technically true. I would say given the prior day, we kind of used Weaver multi-inning, so we weren't going to see him. And it was essentially Holmes, Hamilton, Ferguson, Gonzalez. Well, Gonzalez has shown that he does have the ability to go multi-innings. We've kind of talked about that. Ferguson hasn't shown that he can throw one inning, let alone multiple. So that's not going to be an option. Holmes obviously had his limitations. We addressed them. And then, of course, Hamilton hasn't been throwing excellent of late. He's been okay. And I'm sure the Yankees just saw it as a situation where if we're not going to score in the 10th inning, we probably don't deserve to win this game. And let's just kind of get it packing for tomorrow. So, yeah, I know it's frustrating. People are going to have the opinion that the Yankees should treat today's game like it's do or die. I understand that take. I don't hate it. But at the same time, those people would be the same people saying we need another arm at the deadline because, Hamilton is dead. Holmes is dead. Like, these guys have no arm left. Well, part of that is the way you use them. And so
I
we
agree
need
with
to
that.
deploy these guys in the proper fashion to make sure that we're going to be successful today and in the future. I'm not talking about 2026. I'm talking about October. Because if you basically just use guys like we're in Saving Private Ryan, you just freaking are just running through a wall all year long, well, you're not necessarily pacing yourself and sustaining yourself for longevity. Because what the crazy part about Yankees fans, and it's a beauty and a curse, is that we want to win today, but we sure as hell want to win tomorrow and the next day. That's the way we are. So we try to at least address why Boone's making a decision that he's making, even if we don't like it.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, going back to that game, Heel gave up 5. Marinaccio comes in for 1 1/3. They used Dennis Santana for 2 1/3 innings, which is kind of weird. Ferguson an inning, Holmes an inning, Tonkins. So they didn't use Hamilton. And honestly, I think they should use Luke Weaver because he could have gone multiple innings, as we know. So he was used the next day. He was just used. So yeah, I think that's my only gripe about that game. Was Tonkin. But I mean, coming off a 15-3 game, no gripes about that one. And yeah, get ready to play ball at 210. But yeah, appreciate everybody. Wow, this is fun.
Yeah, they're going to tell us baseball's dead. I could not imagine more than about 13 people are going to make their way to this. Oh, wait. Oh, it's Sunday. Thank God. I didn't even know it was Sunday.
I did, only because the NFL draft always ends on a Saturday.
That makes sense. Yeah, I had no idea it was Sunday. I thought yesterday was Sunday, and then today I thought it was Monday. So yeah, we're all out of whack. So let's go Yankees.
I'm all out of whack because I move Wednesday. So
oh, that's right. Yeah, so we're not sure if we're going to do a live show. We'll probably do a pre-recorded show tonight. Well, I guess we'll figure it out. Either way, we'll probably tweet it out.
So maybe we will do a live stream. I mean, if our first live stream, we got 25 concurrent viewers, 83 views. We're brand new. So going from 1,300 concurrent viewers to 25 is obviously a little bit of a shock, but it's not for me because I've already kind of, I lowered my expectations immediately. We're starting from scratch, enjoying the process. Essentially, it's almost like, you know what we are? We are a new game plus. That's what we are. We have all the information of how to do things because we've already gone through them, and we're just starting from scratch again. We're a new game plus.
Yeah, it's much harder, much easier said than done, by the way, to do a new channel and be like, oh, like celebrating 10 people in the chat. But like I said before, we're going to remember everyone's name. Like it does probably sound a bit ridiculous. Like someone like Melissa or Ronnie or Li, right? 65. They're going to be sitting in the chat thinking, yeah, he may or may not remember like maybe 1 or 2 of us. No, we will absolutely. And for people who do know us, they would attest to that fact. So
yes.
We don't take it lightly. We know that to get to where we're trying to go, we have to be part of this process. And yeah, Ronnie, we completely agree. The show, and our goal is not to blow up a show. I would say that we're not trying to. We want to find people who want to discuss the Yankees the same way we want to, and that is with detail. That is going to occasionally come with disagreements. It's part of the reason why we did the show in the first place. It's not just going to be like watching the news where they just go, yeah, kick it to the next guy. Yeah, I also agree. And I think this, and they kind of just keep reiterating the same stuff. No, Jake has his own opinions. I have my own. And of course, our guests are going to have their own varying opinions, and we will bring on guests, and we don't have to agree with them. It's not just going to be this big kumbaya circle. No, we are going to discuss the details, and the details a lot of times get messy and they get interesting. And we are here for all the fun and the tea, you can say. So we appreciate all you guys. And yeah, if our live streams are going to go this way, we might as well do another one.
I would say so. Also, guys, we also during the summer last year, we did kick streams. We'll probably be doing that again. So if you ever want to hang out with us and just hang out and we play all sorts of games, and I think we were doing, what were we doing? We were doing the MLB the guessing game that everyone was so obsessed over. It's not as big anymore.
Yeah, the one Frank the Tank kept posting. I didn't know why he kept tweeting it. Yeah, you're talking about the one with the little punnets, the little squares.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
little squares on it. Yep.
We were doing that like every night.
We were.
So
it was fun.
Yeah. So I mean, if you want to know when that is going to come, be sure to follow us on social media at JK Bogan, at Gary Sheffield Jr., at Yankees Unloaded. Ronnie, one last thing here. I just want to make sure that we cover everything. This show's going to balloon real fresh how the lineup jumped on the screen. Jake on top of things as always. Go Rams/Yankees. Love it, Ronnie. Absolutely love it. Yes, go Rams/Yankees.
Dude's the man.
Dude is the man. So, hey, 15-3, and for Ronnie, you probably can attest to this. Rams had a great draft. Again, 15-3 yesterday. Things were good yesterday. Hell, my Lakers even beat the Nuggets. Like, that's not happening again. It's not happening again.
Probably
it was just one of those crazy days. I mean, I couldn't get everybody to win. Like my Golden Knights lost, but is what it is. But hey, a lot of fun doing this live stream. And if you guys like them, make sure that you blow up our comments all over our videos telling us how much you love live streams. And at some point, we'll have to make a decision, have an internal discussion whether or not that this will be the norm. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, because we do like the high quality content. But at the same time, this is pretty good, and there's no waiting for YouTube to have to process it. It just goes right up as a video.
Oh, we hate the waiting. That's like,
yeah,
probably because Jake's on Flintstone Wi-Fi, so his stuff doesn't get out. He told me that his 50 download and upload speed, 50 megabits per second, for those of you who don't know.
Well, I have 500 download. It's the upload. It's 35.
Atrocious.
I've got good in this area, man.
So really, to break that down in conversions, 1,000 megabits per second of upload and download. Jake needs to move from New York immediately. The Yankees in New York, their teams are excellent, but man, their Wi-Fi, it's just not it. They don't have fiber.
We do have fiber. It's just very limited. Like there's fiber in my neighborhood. It's not, but there's fiber in like the neighborhood over there. And I think they've already deemed that my neighborhood, which I'm moving out of already, so that's cool. They've already deemed that my neighborhood isn't suitable for fiber. So,
oh my gosh,
it's just like Minesweeper essentially. Ronnie, the live has been great quality as well. Honestly, okay, all right, Ronnie, I see you there. I'll go through and check it out myself, but yeah, it's been fun. Gary and I could talk for 5 hours, so we have to cut it now before we actually end up doing it for 5 hours. But guys, appreciate you. Hope you guys enjoy the Yankee game. Everyone have a great Sunday, and we'll see you guys soon. Really? No like this video? Really?
Well, I didn't think that there was a lot. Is there a like button on this?
Yes. What the hell are you talking about? Is there a like button on this?
And like this video.